Wow. Can you believe we made it? Honestly, after 4, I was doubting whether or not this one would be happening, but we're here. Back up to the plate is the reddest field known to man, Chris. He's teamed up with new character Sheva, who, after this game, will be added to the vault of characters we'll never see again. This game takes place primarily in Africa, and mostly during the day, which is a drastic change from everything we've been used to up to this point. The game fully goes off the rails in this one, in a trend towards action that'll continue into 6. You can probably tell based on the runtime that 5 isn't that hard to 100%. The hardest part is going to be the multiplayer achievements, but those come later. I'll also warn you that I don't have a great opinion of this game, and I do very little to hide that throughout this video. If this is your favorite game in the series, I'm glad you have something you enjoy. I'll return to liking these games once we get to 7. Multiple playthroughs, first one about collectibles, miscellaneous achievements as we get to them, you know the drill by now. And if you don't, and you're hopping in the 5th video of a series, shout out to you for being a trailblazer. Don't let anyone dull your light. A few more notes, the actual in-game audio is really compressed for some reason, but I think that's just a byproduct of the Steam port. You might not even be able to tell, but it annoyed me during my playtime, so I'm mentioning it here. I also start to lose track of what the story is around this game, so I'll do my best, but an example is that in this game, Chris is a member of the BSAA, but then in RE8, he's fighting the BSAA, and there's no explanation in between that I've found that explains why that's happening. Capcom just loves to put important lore on the bottom of cereal boxes, so I'm sure there's reasons out there, but if you want in-depth lore videos, I'm only going to be slightly less confused than you will be by the end of this. Anyway, this game starts with a random guy being turned into a zombie by a plague doctor, a character hiding their face for no dramatic purpose, I'm sure. Big CR gives us an intel dump, and Sheva introduces herself before we have a flashback of Jill's tombstone, a reference to the fact that what the fuck? We pass by some lovely gentlemen beating the shit out of a sack, only to find that Umbrella must have drafted David Blaine in the off-season, because 5 seconds after we pass those guys, everyone in the entire town is gone. We grab our guns from the first bad guy in Iron Man 1, who tells us about the reason we're here, Uroboros. I'm not sure if the name is a tactical misspelling, or if Wesker's been pumped with so much virus that his brain is scrambled, but either way, we'll have to stop it. We pull up on the average person after eating at White Castle, the trying to kill us part included. Unnecessarily dive out a window, escaping the local population and heading into our first true battle. Somehow in the 2 minutes since we left him behind, not Obadiah Stane got himself kidnapped and Ned Starked. We now have to hold out for like 7 actual minutes while an unlimited zombie horde attacks us. Luckily, the locals have hidden all their best resources under incredibly conspicuous piles of fruit. This is also the best time to mention that this game is intended to be played 2-player. If you don't, you're stuck with an AI that, for better or worse, loves to just send it at the enemies. I will be rocking this entire game solo, up until we hit multiplayer. There are achievements for helping your partner enough times, as well as one achievement which is about as vague as friendship leveling in Pokemon, but as long as you revive your teammate when they're hurt, you should be fine. During this holdout, we managed to kill 5 enemies with a knife, 3 with an oil fire, and 3 with a barrel explosion. After 7 minutes of running away, backup arrives and RPGs the door forwards, meaning the only thing that was stopping us from leaving that entire time was climbing a fence, and we didn't do it. Thus ends Chapter 1-1, a system that divides the game into 10 to 30 minute sections, which I hate. I did get an S rank though, so shout out to my barber dog. Our actual holdable inventory is smaller than it's ever been, with only 9 slots, meaning prioritizing between you and the AI is vital for survival. My main strategy is to give me all the good stuff, and Sheva can have some pistol bullets sometimes. Chapter 1-2 picks up right where we left off, shocker, and sees us enter a more residential area filled with a very welcoming community. We now have to take out a monster that I guarantee has appeared on some Hear Me Out cakes. With that posse down, we enter the building of Ultimate Dead Guys, banking this emblem and finding a bunch of guys that look like they just got attacked by the tar monster from Scooby-Doo 2. We head to the basement, which houses this lit furnace that might as well have a neon sign that says use this to kill the bad guy. The ghost of BP Oil's past comes for us, and we do what it said on the box, treating it to a nice day at the sauna. We're trying to hunt down a guy named Irving for some reason, and we just missed him, so we radio HQ who tells us to nut up or shut up, despite every other trained soldier being already dead. Luckily, I'm Chris Redfield, and what are they gonna do? Kill me? Each chapter has a random gun we can pick up, and we'll have to max them all by the end for an achievement. Even if we do miss one though, we can just buy it at the store in between chapters anyway, so it doesn't really matter. That's kind of the whole vibe of this game. We get an achievement for shooting a Molotov while still in hand, and I marvel at the fact that even in Africa, the bad guys don't dare to deviate from the playbook of calling in dog bees and zombig boys. Part of the reason the lore starts confusing me here is because this isn't just a mansion, or a small city, or an island community. This is a country. And spoilers for 6, it's the whole world. How is regular life functioning if everywhere just has massive zombie outbursts? We fight our way through, crashing a truck and meeting a new enemy type.
They fly now! They fly now!
Sheva makes a prescient observation.
Someone's here.
And we wander around unbothered, collecting stuff for about 5 minutes before picking up the keys of immediate aggression. Apparently everyone was waiting just off screen for the go signal, but unfortunately for them, I've got hands. At some point in here, we get the achievements for defeating enemies with physical attacks and for getting 20 headshots, but it gets hard to keep track when every area has unlimited guys in it. I send Sheva up top to grab some ammo, and she patently refuses to do so. Twice. As punishment for her insubordination, I throw her into a separate building full of enemies and don't help her. Just as we're about to continue, Mr. Chainsaw makes his first cameo, only this time we have to beat him to get the key to continue. He is insanely beefy, way more than usual, but eventually we get the better of him and get a fat stack of treasure before heading into the next area. We get attacked by a roving gang of motorcycle zombies, and at this point I'm absolutely confused as to what makes a zombie anymore. We get saved by Josh, another character we'll never see again, and Chris gets intel on Jill, who then has a flashback to events that we still have no context for. Just in case you forgot what we're doing, which I don't blame you for, we're trying to get to the mines to capture Irving, and that entire last chapter was just us walking closer to where we have to be eventually. We bring the total number of Dalmatians down from 101 to 97, and do all the usual stuff before hopping in a minecart and immediately becoming mincemeat. We now enter the insurmountable darkness section. Either you or your partner has to hold a lantern in a pitch-black cave while enemies try to attack you. In theory, this is meant to increase the scare factor while also limiting your team's combat capability. In reality, nothing changes because Sheva wasn't doing anything anyway. I do end up letting her have a sniper since it's a one-shot kill, but it's pretty much the only weapon she gets until way later. We crank this door open and fight our way through another combat area. I bet you thought I was going to play Crank Dad in that last part, didn't you? You think I'm that predictable? I gotta keep you on your toes. Having escaped the caves, we emerge outside, seeing Irving in the flesh for the first time, who sounds like a mix between the Joker and Adam the Clown.
Oh, I'm not like them. I'm a businessman with standards.
The Plague Doctor shows up and golly gee, I'm really scratching my head as to who that could be. I find another sniper in here, which is my forte, and we push up a hill through a swarm of more guys to take on the next dastardly creation of Not Umbrella. Imagine, if you will, if someone took the front half of a bat and then gave it a lobster's ass. This is the power of Wesker's superhuman mind, for you and I could never comprehend this. Use the power of highly compact explosives to send him to the ground, then absolutely rinse his tummy. Once we damage him enough, we get a cool slow-mo of Chris using 3 handgun bullets to take it down, making me wonder why if he could do that in 3 shots, I had to waste so much ammo. This guy shows up whose name we will never learn, and if you pay close enough attention, you'll notice this truck has a gun on the back. Surely that won't be relevant. And it isn't. For this subchapter, because that's over now, but in the next one, yeah, we're using it. By shooting out the driver of a truck here, we earn another achievement, and we sit through 5 straight minutes of holding down the fire button, only to get a cutscene showing that more guys are dead, and then we get another 5 minutes of holding down the fire button. All I'm saying is that when Leon went up against a giant, he was on his own with a wolf. Chris needs 2 machine guns, and it still takes him a while. Just like Ethan Hunt in every Mission Impossible movie, Chris decides he's going rogue, and Sheva pushes back for about 3 seconds, making the entire scene sound like this.
We're not joining your team.
I'm putting together a team.
We're in.
We then have one of the least cool exits ever, where we go from dual-firing machine guns to riding on the world's smallest dinghy. While driving the fan boat, Chris finally gives some background as to what's been going on, which was that Chris and Jill went to confront Wesker, but I honestly don't know if this is meant to be the same mansion as one or a different, very similar mansion. Jill sacrifices herself to save Chris, but her body was never recovered, so Chris hasn't given up the search. Sheva gives her background, but we'll never see her again, so I don't care. We now have to drive around on a boat for a while to collect pieces of an emblem to shove in a gate to unlock the way forwards. Why is there a mechanism as advanced as this in a tribal village, and why can't we just climb the walls like we can everywhere else? These are the questions they don't want answered, people. While this boating and collecting session is going on, it's as good a time as any to tell you specifically what kind of things we're looking for in each chapter. The collection-based achievements center around types of treasure, BSAA emblems, and eggs. Every form of treasure has 5 variations of increasing rarity, with it being ruby, sapphire, topaz, emerald, and diamond. Then there are random treasures that are just lying in vases and in chests around the area. All we have to do is collect one of every type. Only one piece is particularly interesting, and I'll cover that later, but the rest are pretty standard. The emblems I've shown some of so far, but they're just little blue circles that can be anywhere on any map. Now what do you think you get for shooting all 30 of these well-hidden things throughout the campaign? If you guessed the infinite ammo rocket launcher, you'd be dead wrong, because it's a costume for Chris and Sheva. That's right, a costume. Final thing is eggs. This is as it sounds. There's 4 different types of eggs. We need one of each. They aren't hard to find. The hardest one is a rotten egg because it's a random drop from higher difficulty enemies, but in our Gorillion playthroughs we'll probably find it somewhere. Anyway, now that background activity's been running for long enough, we plug these emblem pieces in and continue on our merry way, fighting off more unlimited guys, introducing the newest form of big guy. Just so you know I'm not lying, at this point, I have all 3 egg types just from this chapter alone. We also get our first revolver here, but it isn't the Lightning Hawk, so we don't care yet. Once I do get the Lightning Hawk, I will be immediately maxing it out. We gondola over to the next subchapter, and I feel it important to remind you that truly nothing is happening story-wise that you need to know yet. The entire story progression of this chapter was learning what happened to Jill at the beginning and then fighting our way for an hour to make progress towards a future area. Either way, we now get to play Dodge the Alligator, then head into an oil field to catch a glimpse of Irving continuing to walk away from us. We're about halfway through the game by now, and we haven't even wrapped up the first plot point. We have to turn 2 valves here to shut off the plumes of fire spewing from these oil machines, each of which cause their own chainsaw guy to spawn. We head into where we saw Irving last, and instead run into Josh, who despite the fact that we just had to go through all that, gives this explanation for how we got here.
We were at the port when we were attacked, and then, well, I ended up here.
We've decoded the intel from the First Order spy, and it confirms the worst. Somehow,
I ended up here.
Now, if you've never played this, you might be thinking to yourself, oh, well, this is classic bad guy foreshadowing. A guy you keep running into randomly showing up places he shouldn't be. It's so obviously a red flag. Nope. Josh is just a regular guy that shows up occasionally. We have to cover him while he unlocks the elevator, which will allow us to go 3 feet vertically, despite the fact that I can throw Sheva about 30 feet in any direction. I bought the stun rod in between chapters, which is basically legal hacks, and we cover Josh a second time as he opens a new door. After joining us for 5 minutes, Josh pieces out and we head onto a dock to find Irving leaving once again. And it turns out Josh is about 40 paces to our left, so why did we split up at all? I go stun rod crazy, and at some point in this or a soon to arrive chapter, I get the achievement for defeating 30 guys with the stun rod. Well, that's the end of another sub-chapter, and we even got to hear a few lines of Irving's dialogue this time. We're really making progress now. Maybe next chapter our fingers will get to lightly brush his jacket. Wouldn't that be exhilarating? Josh decides to live out his Jack Sparrow fantasy, and we have to pull 2 different sets of levers to open the way forwards. Aren't we supposed to be chasing Irving? I assume this is like a shortcut, but does it remain a shortcut if I spend 5 minutes off the boat doing random shit? Regardless, our boat basically immediately crashes into Irving's boat, and we hop on while Irving has a flashback showing a briefcase full of actual bars of gold, which means that this briefcase probably weighs about 500 pounds. Plague Doctor tells Irving to hop on a cycle, and he hits us with this.
You're making me look bad!
Before becoming a giant squid monster. It's up to us to do what we do best now. Shoot him with guns a lot. Once he's defeated, we finally get all our answers. He tells us Uroboros is a thing, and that all the answers are in that cave. So great. Real development here. We're entering chapter 4 of 6 with the knowledge that Uroboros is a thing, the same level of intel that we got in that first cutscene. Well, with nothing better to do, let's enter that cave. We get introduced to zompiters, and just in case you weren't satisfied earlier, I tell every zombie in here to stop resisting, but in a British accent. We now enter the secret underground city of whatever this place is, fighting through a bunch of dudes and dodging big rolling balls of fire, which seem like they'd only be good at stopping one set of intruders once. Chris hits us with his powerful running form. And we grab a grenade launcher and start cranking out puzzles. Once we've sufficiently puzzled, Bat Lobster shows back up to the party and promptly gets obliterated. Upon moving to the next area, we get our first cutscene of A&W Root Beer, who, I'll be honest, is giving Squidward.
That right is now mine.
In the next area, they've managed to harness the power of the sun in the palm of their hands, and by hands, I mean big crystals that make a laser beam. How these crystals manage to refract light this way multiple times instead of just once remains to be seen. I save Sheva again just to show you that I'm doing it, and we progress through the laser maze. We have to find... Hold on, let me make sure I have this right. Oh, 3 different emblems. Because of fucking course we do. Unfortunately for us, Sheva loves to get absolutely hosed by these lasers. Once all the emblems are in place, the way forwards opens up, and we have to solve more light-based crypt puzzles, all eventually culminating in us reaching some flowers. We find a storage crate nearby featuring the logo of
Umbrella.
And then we see the Tricell logo, which come on guys, piece it together. These flowers are apparently used to make bioweapons somehow, and we encounter something we haven't seen in a long time. Liquors are back on the menu, baby. Chris and Sheva create their own comedic timing.
Thank God there weren't more of them.
Yeah, we wouldn't last in a fight with a whole horde. Damn it! They hurt us!
And we clear out every liquor here, then call the elevator, which causes an entire boy band's worth of liquors to start posing up in the hallway. With them dead, the game gives us about 1 billion bullets, which you know as well as I do what that means. We head into the Matrix, but just the human battery part, and head down to find Jill's capsule. Wesker decided to have a giant crab spider guard the cells, I guess? I don't know anymore. We defeat it and open Jill's capsule to find it empty. Man, that's weird. Wonder why that is. Excella tells us she only knows as much as we do, to which Sheva activates 4 million IQ brain and tells us
She's lying. She knows something.
We fight our way through this factory, reaching an elevator, and Sheva Holmes makes another deduction.
Don't worry. The reserve supply is almost ready.
You know that voice.
But Chris Watson isn't about to let her hog all the glory.
Albert. Shit. Wesker. I thought he was dead.
How do we know it's the same Albert? What if they resurrected Einstein? We give the business to about 10 liquors, including this one which we stab in the heart for an achievement, and emerge into a new section of factory which I'll need some further explanation on. So at one end of the conveyor belt they pump out these tanks, which are explosive. Makes sense so far. So let's throw them on a conveyor belt and then drive them into an incinerator, where they then blow up, all within about 500 feet. Oh my gosh, why didn't I think of that? This is a great business model. We pull the big lever, unleashing the next evolution in bug technology. These are pretty close to the bugs from the original RE3, except way more deadly. Once he's dealt with, we get to meet this guy, and learn that all of this is about natural selection and choosing who can survive in Wesker's new world. Unfortunately, this guy doesn't make the cut, and I kid you not, I fight this dude for like 30 minutes straight. I read later on that there might be an issue with this guy on Steam, but I don't like to blame my own weakness on the game, so I just bought an RPG and turned him into dust. By the end of the video, you will be intimately familiar with this next section, but for now we fight our way through more guys and more bugs and emerge back into the Matrix and ride the merry-go-round all the way to the top. At the top is a different buried city totally unrelated to that first one, and I have to push a really big cart while Sheva covers me. With the way ahead clear, we head in and finally get to see the man himself.
Isn't this one big family reunion? I would expect you to be happier to see us.
Us.
So slow to catch on.
Oh my gosh, Jill? No way. Wesker decided to give her a makeover, so I choose to believe he's a licensed cosmetologist because he wouldn't accept anything less than perfection, and who's more perfect at doing things than himself. Either way, we now have to endure Wesker and Jill for 7 minutes, which is more difficult than you would think, because Wesker has hacks on. We also can't shoot Jill because of something called friendship, so our options are pretty limited. The legitimate strategy when you don't have crazy weapons is to just run around and hide around random corners. Once the time has elapsed, we're thrown into a 1v2 with Jill, with the objective of ripping off the arc reactor out of her chest. Sheva gets her ass kicked so many times that I earned both achievements for rescuing her, and we finally rip the thing off. Jill tells us we have to stop Wesker in this really dramatic scene, but what they don't show you is the 2-minute elevator ride that immediately follows this. We see that Wesker and Excella got on a really big boat, so let's get to sailing, and let me tell you, this shit is huge.
This ship is huge.
That's what I said. We fight our way through the ship, fighting this really big guy who seems to not understand how guns work, and get a flashback about Wesker confronting Oswald Spencer. Spencer tells us there were multiple Wesker children, and is then promptly fingered by Albert. He dumps Excella, who decides to turn into the Whomping Willow from Harry Potter, and we escape to the roof to take her on. We use a target locator to hit her with a casual orbital strike, which she shrugs off several times, but eventually she goes down. Jill hits up our line, letting us know that Wesker's powers come from super steroids, which we happened to get a vial of earlier, and our entire plan relies on us giving Wesker more super steroids in the hope it'll throw him off. We then have to run through the exploding ship while waiting for multiple series of doors to open, each of which takes approximately 2 full minutes. Once that's all passed, we head out to confront Wesker, who uses his ultimate move, throwing his sunglasses at us. Don't worry though, he gets them back. Wesker could easily kill Sheva here, but we fall down into the boss arena, where our goal now is that we have to stagger Wesker and inject him with the serum. I'll be honest, I thought that would happen in a cutscene after we damage him enough, but that's not true. You manually have to run up to him and do it, so I spend a really long time trying to hurt him enough, which is ultimately futile. Also, because he has hacks on, he will dodge everything you do if he sees you, so the only way to defeat him is to shut off all the lights, since with his sunglasses on, he can't see in the dark. I think that's legitimately the in-game explanation for how this works. Wesker reacts to taking his medicine the same way I did anytime I had to drink cherry-flavored cough syrup. Despite injecting him, he is still 100% functional, and would have killed me here if he wasn't so busy monologuing. Sheva sacrifices herself to send Wesker out the bay doors, but Chris isn't losing a second partner, so we all crash land onto Mount Doom, and prepare for our Mustafarian final battle. Wesker gets fully yoked off the eel juice and proceeds to walk really slowly at us. No joke I would ever make could live up to this moment. Wesker then proceeds to repeatedly hit the Nene before hitting the whip, so we do our duty and put him down for good. Josh and Jill pull up in a chopper, and every named character has to take their turn saying a one-liner, except Sheva says two and seems kind of embarrassed by the second one.
That was for our fallen brothers.
We fly into the sunset, officially wrapping up our first playthrough. At some point we maxed out our friendship meter, so we unlocked quite a few achievements for that first go. Now here's where it gets weird. If you fully upgrade a weapon, once you've finished the game once, you can get unlimited ammo for that weapon. I made sure to fully upgrade one main weapon during that first playthrough, which was the Lightning Hawk Magnum. For doing that, I now have unlimited magnums for every future playthrough, so I do another run immediately on Veteran with unlimited magnums, which makes the game a joke. Sheva also gets affected by this, so every boss fight has 2 people dual-wielding max-level magnums. During this playthrough, I shock a Magini with a transformer, earning one of the last miscellaneous achievements of the main game. For beating any run in under 5 hours, we unlock the Unlimited Ammo RPG, which I then use to obliterate Wesker in the 7 minutes fight, earning another achievement and allowing me to collect the Heart of Africa, the final treasure I needed for the All Treasures achievement. I run it again on Professional, with the only notable tough parts being the driving section since you can't infinite RPG, which I still managed to do first try. There is one other part which is extremely tough on Professional, and that's the 7-minute Wesker fight. But you have unlimited ammo, I hear you say, and that's true, but what I don't have is a competent partner. The AI loves to throw itself directly at Wesker to a point that Sheva dies instantaneously. I try this fight for a solid 45 minutes without being able to progress since I can't shoot Wesker until he loses track of me, and that can't happen until I make it upstairs, and Sheva doesn't last that long. So, I decide I have to call in backup. I spend $5 additional to buy my girlfriend RE5, then made her avoid Wesker so that I could get this done. We also team up to take down Jill, since the same issue with not being able to shoot her remains. At this point, our main goal is to unlock all weapons and completely max them out, which takes a lot of cold hard cash. Given that I don't want to keep playing the game multiple times just to farm up money, I decide to run the fastest route I found, which is the part directly after the Uroboros fight. I use the Gatling gun at first, earning me the achievement for taking out 30 guys, then swap to the RPG for future runs. The bugs here drop treasure that gives you $2,500 each, with a maximum of 3 bugs, meaning each run generates somewhere between $2,500 and $7,500 in about 45 seconds. On one of these runs, I managed to get 2 enemies to drop rotten eggs right next to each other, the first of which unlocks the all egg achievement, and the second of which I used to throw at a guy, which unlocks a different achievement. I do this entire circuit for, and I'm not kidding, about 8 hours. I'm also going to need a lot of exchange points, which you get for completing missions and allow you to buy costumes and characters from multiplayer. I learned too late that multiplayer will give you exchange points, but I only discovered that after I had already unlocked everything, so boo-hoo for me. We buy all the figurines, I headshot a jumping Magini, and I use the spiders in the cave for the longbow kills and both grenade kills. I stun a big boy from chapter 1 to get the max number of combos and deflect an arrow using my knife in the same area. With all the miscellaneous stuff done, we can now head into Lost in Nightmares, the first of the DLCs for this game. It's the necessary backstory for how Jill and Chris ended up in the mansion, and the first half is pretty solid. It feels like how RE1 would have felt if we played it in this style, and we have to push through the mansion to find Wesker. There are emblems that aren't emblems, called score stars, which we have to destroy all of. Once you leave the mansion, the DLC becomes pretty lackluster. There's only one enemy type you see in the entire thing, which are these weird guys, and it's mostly just running away from them while you accomplish an objective. You can beat this entire thing in under 20 minutes. Once you get past them, you reach the library where Wesker's chilling, and have a very similar fight to the 7 minutes fight, except Jill's on your side this time. For damaging Wesker enough and earning an S rank, we unlock 2 additional achievements and run through the game again on Professional, which mostly relies on you drawing aggro to stop Wesker from insta-killing the AI. I also S-rank on Professional, so shout out to me, and we head into the next DLC, Desperate Escape, which has Jill and Josh trying to get out of Dodge right after the fight with Wesker. This game mode has an achievement which is brutal to get, which is to kill 3 of the special type of zombie that only show up when you fully clear an area. The problem is, the zombies in the first area never stopped coming. One single zombie would trickle in legitimately non-stop. I sat here for like 20 minutes waiting for it to stop, and they never did. However, that did help me get the other achievement for killing 150 zombies by myself. This whole DLC is just a non-stop combat gauntlet, and I only managed to clear the regular difficulty with the AI before Robo-Josh can no longer cut it. With all that done, I once again summon backup, but this time from my very limited real-life friend pool, and we get to work. It took him a second to get familiar with the controls, and he only died about 47 times, but we make it work. I tried to record our Discord call, but I'd never tried that before and I didn't manage to make it work. But trust me when I say, we went into this bright-eyed and left husks of the men we were. If he's out there watching, I know the thought he would want me to share with you all is that he hopes Doug will make a return in future games.
You don't have to tell me twice.
Nice flying.
Doug, he would have done better.
With that done, we come to the true test of patience, the multiplayer achievements. Multiplayer begins a trend that continues into 6 of me hating what this game makes me do. Let me break this down. There's 2 main game modes, Slayers and Survivors. Each one has a 1v1 and a 2v2 mode. The 1v1 mode for both is easy. I booted up a second PC and killed the AI 100 times, earned a 20 combo, scored at least 40,000 points, and then won 30, yes 30, matches of both game modes. If that was where it ended, fine. I'd still not be happy, but at least that was semi-doable in a few hours. Oh no. They make you get 30 wins again in both Team Slayers and Team Survivors, meaning I now need a full 4-man roster to get these achievements. This also means I have to waste the time of at least 2 other real people for basically an entire day. I called in my friend who helped me with Desperate Escape earlier, as well as one of my only other friends, and forced them to endure just sitting there for hours while I killed them.
Apart from the other YouTubers, bro.
Yeah, this is the me difference.
Yeah.
The notepad.
The notepad and dragging 2 other sorry individuals into a 4-hour session. It's literally like, the only other option I saw to get this achievement was either, like, invite randoms, which is risky, or there was a guide on Steam about a guy who was advertising, like, he had a software that, like, made the AI, like, computers.
Oh, God.
But it was like, listen, like, the first comment was like, guys, I hear you. The 30 false malware flags are not real. Trust me.
Oh, God. Like, okay, well, while you're here, just take this test. And there's, like, a section on there. It's like, name whatever gears that you know, like, vehicle gears, rack and pinion, that kind of shit. And this dude put, like, park, drive. I was like, oh, my God.
Hey, dude, he's not wrong, dude.
He's not wrong,
First,
but he's not really...
second, third.
Yeah, third. Then you got neutral.
Of war.
Yeah, of war. Gears of war.
Of War 2. Of War 3. I think it was like your 10th birthday party or something. And he was like, I'm just going to throw on a movie. And he throws on Black Hawk Down. And I was like, ah!
Do we have to do this in this game mode and then the other game mode?
The other game mode is shorter matches. So it'll be done quicker. But, yeah.
How many are we up to now?
You don't want to... Don't ask me that. You don't want to know.
It's probably like fucking 6.
It is the number 6.
Oh,
Out of 30?
Out of 30. I mean, if you think about it, 6 is fucking half an hour.
That's true. Good thing there's only fucking 24 more to go.
If you think about it, 6, 7.
Holy
oh my
shit.
God.
I've unlocked my 4th chakra just now.
Yeah, all the conversations then cut back to the part where like, so how many are we done with?
Yeah.
6.
Yes.
Playing my favorite game, Resident Evil.
Resident Evil 5, the game you didn't own until last night.
Playing my favorite game of all time, Resident Evil 5 Gold Edition.
Gold Edition, Untold Stories Bundle DLC, Doug Plus 99.
Doug Classic. Rip Doug.
There's a guy, Alex, for context for that joke, there's a guy in the DLC that I made Jude play with me, named Doug, who shows up at the very end of the game. He jumps out of his helicopter, shoots 2 zombies, and gets RPG'd, is immediately dead.
like literally, Brett jumps out of the helicopter and then gets like direct hitted by a fucking missile and explodes. And then we're flying away, and they're like, "You did great," and he's like, "Doug would have done better."
Right after we finished that playthrough, I messaged Jude and I was like, hey man, thanks for your help. And he goes, man, I hope Doug comes back in the later games.
I hope Doug comes back for RE9.
And I hear you saying, well, that sucks, but at least it worked. It didn't. If any one of us got disconnected, it voided the entire session. After around 4 hours, we started getting disconnected non-stop. It got to a point where we didn't finish a single round of gameplay in about an hour. It was agony. Multiplayer achievements are the bane of my existence, and I hate them. We managed to get the miscellaneous team-based achievements done in the first few sessions, but we didn't come anywhere close to hitting enough games for it to count. We all logged on at around 9 AM and gave up around 4, having completed about 27 games across both game modes. It was horrible. So I invited my definitely real friends RoboChris1 through 3 to join in. Do I think this technically counts as cheating? Probably. Did I like having to resort to this? No. Did I want to waste my own time and the time of my friends trying to endure the connection to decades-old servers? No. I didn't even want to enable the DLC that lets me earn extra money in RE4, so trust me when I say that I wish I didn't have to do this, but I don't want to let my desire for achievements impact real-life people either. Regardless, it's done. I finish up any money grinding I still have left on single player, upgrading all the weapons, and buying everything from the exchange point shop, and RE5 is officially 100%ed. Thank you for watching. This one wasn't my favorite, as you've probably surmised, but again, if it's your favorite, I'm glad you have something you like. RE6 follows the same formula, but the golden era of 7 is on the horizon. Shout out to my patrons, Dixby, Jude, Alex, Matt, Eli, Spiralt, Muriel, and Raven, as well as all my other patrons. You all make doing this possible. Thank you. RE6 is next up to bat, and let me tell you, it's a doozy. I'll see you in the next one. Boys, I have great news. After this one, we're at 10.
Shit. Let's go.
And what is 10? If not 6, 7, minus 3.
Awesome.